Perhaps the most challenging part of being a landlord is complying with fair housing laws, which are intended to prevent housing discrimination. Before you begin to advertise your apartments, you'll need to understand what you can say and do when you select your tenants. At the taping of this session, the City of Minneapolis has limited the questions that can be asked and defined much of this criteria with the intent of increasing affordable housing opportunities for the tenants. It's also true, of course, that landlords must comply with federal, state, and local fair housing laws when choosing tenants. And failure to know and follow these laws, for example, by falsely stating that a rental unit is unavailable or terminating a tenancy for a discriminatory reason, may result in costly discrimination complaints and lawsuits. Federal laws make it illegal for landlords to discriminate against prospective tenants because of their race, religion, ethnic background, or national origin, sex, familial status, such as having children under the age of 18, or other physical or mental disability. A recent high-profile landlord-tenant discrimination case illustrates the thin line between legitimate and discriminatory reasons for denying a prospective tenant. In this case, a Minnesota landlord was sued for refusing to rent to a Hmong family. The landlord denied the application because he claimed that language barriers would have made it difficult for the tenant to understand and therefore abide by the terms of the lease agreement. Consequently, the landlord believed that the tenant would not be legally bound by the lease unless it were translated, which would involve significant expense. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development claimed that the denial amounted to unlawful discrimination on the basis of the prospective renter's national origin. Check with the city in which the property is located. Translators may be available at little or no charge. This case highlights the importance of fair housing compliance at all phases of the process. Residential landlords must avoid discrimination in placing advertisements, conducting apartment showings, reviewing applications, and preparing lease terms. Violations of fair housing laws can result in serious legal consequences. Landlords who engage in unlawful discrimination can be held liable for monetary damages, civil penalties, and even punitive damages in some situations. The first step to comply with these laws requires understanding the framework of the law. While landlords are generally free to accept or reject tenants for numerous reasons, they cannot discriminate against current or potential tenants on the basis of a prospect's race, religion, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, disability, marital status, familial status, public assistance status in Minnesota, and in St. Paul they have also added age, and in some college towns they protect students. Minnesota law provides limited exceptions to some of these grounds for owner-occupied properties. It's also important to be aware that discrimination can happen after you have accepted a tenant. The law prohibits landlords from imposing different lease terms. For example, requiring a larger security deposit or enforcing stricter occupancy rules for discriminatory reasons. It also prevents landlords from evicting tenants on the basis of discriminatory grounds.